Today I'm going to review the LEGO 3-in-1 Horse Knights Castle. I'll break down the interior, exterior, alternate builds, minifigures, and do a price analysis on the set. If you like medieval LEGO content, please subscribe. I post new LEGO content every week. Since we're less than a month away from the release of this set and new pictures have come out, I figured it would be a good time to give this set a proper deep dive. This set is a creator 3-in-1, meaning it comes with directions for the main build, plus 2 other builds that use the majority of the pieces. These are typically designed for a younger crowd. This one specifically is for ages 9 and up. The set itself comes in at 1,371 pieces with 6 minifigures. For the main build, we have this full castle. The overall structure of the castle isn't that bad. With these new pictures released, we can see some features that I was previously worried about. It turns out that the Tudor wall actually opens up for interior design aspects. I would have figured the courtyard might have opened up too, but we won't know for sure until someone gets their hand on this set. Either way, with the house portion opening up is such a great play feature. For the exterior, the face of the castle is not bad. If you like vintage LEGO castles, then this build will be right up your alley. And the exterior details aren't too wild, so somebody younger or new to castle, this would be a great entry build. I do really hope that there is a mechanism for the gate. I remember having the Black Falcon's Fortress growing up, and the gate just being held in by a string underneath a brick was very lackluster. The walls themselves, though, do use a few different techniques, and it's nice to see that LEGO's actually trying something different. I do wish we had some masonry bricks though here and there. It's a huge missed opportunity for LEGO. And that could really hurt this set because that is an immediate turnoff for the castle community. Another questionable technique for this castle though is how some things are to scale and some aren't. Let me break that down. The back portion of this build is a second tier of ramparts. A minifigure fits here very nicely and doesn't look like it's overcrowding the area. This is the same with the top tower and the remaining walls of the castle. On the contrary, though, we have these very teeny tiny towers on the gate and the side of the castle. They don't look like a structure that can handle a minifigure in the windows or even on top of them. When having a minifigure on these tiny structures, it makes it look very crowded and just not right. I can get why LEGO creators would like to break this barrier. We have seen it before with other very popular sets, such as the Viking Village, and everyone loved that. For this set though, I think we lost a lot of realism that castle creators love due to the age group for this set. That being said, I do appreciate the variety we got on the ramparts for the exterior. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm a big ramparts guy and I like variety. I also really appreciate this back tower. I like how I can fit more than one minifigure up here. I'm not a huge fan of small towers that can only fit one. Alongside of that, the Tudor house is also very nicely done. I can see some snot techniques right at the front. Snot just means studs not on top. This is a technique that helps add a lot more details to builds all over. The Tudor house really helps differentiate it from all the gray bricks while also using a more realistic color than what we've seen before. Now for the inside, we weren't able to get a good picture of the courtyard, but we can see how the back flips out of the Tudor house and the tower to reveal a lot going on. Starting at the top, we got a small tower that doesn't look like it can fit a figure sadly. But on the main tower, we have an area for writing for the king here. Sadly, it isn't big enough to include other typical things that you would see in a study like a bookcase or something like that. Inside the Tudor house, we got a bed for the king to sleep in, but again, the room is very small, so not much else going on here. Below, we have the most detailed room. It has a big throne for the king at the table where other figures can sit down as well. The candle chandelier is a great decoration for it, and it shows how light is brought into the castle some here. We also have some heraldry built from bricks above the throne and a flag on the outside that actually helps decorate the inside when it's opened up. I think that's very creative. Lastly, we have this staple portion, and this just seems too cramped to me. It does fit one horse, which is good, but for a horse knight castle, you figured this might be a little bit bigger. The one thing I really do like about this though is we have a minifigure here making horseshoes. It seems very fitting for the theme. It isn't just some random blacksmith down here. Outside of that though, it has this random staircase here to get up, but doesn't look like it connects great. I do like that it's there to show how figures can get up, but I'm not crazy about the execution here. Before diving into the alternate builds, let's take a peek at the minifigures. The horse knights look amazing. White, silver, and blue are a great color combination, and I am so happy that it's not another Lion Knight. I can see these guys matching up very well with the Dragonborn Paladin parts, or even the old Unicorn parts from the CMF series a while back. Seeing 2 different leg and torso prints for those knights is just so great. I like how the king is a little more decorated than everybody else, and the subtle difference will be great for people who want to army build with these figures. I also really like that it's a lighter blue. Those light blue accessories like the hood, shield, and cape are just awesome. It helps this faction stand out from the other blues, like the standard blue we would get from other factions, such as the Black Falcons. Lastly, we got a beautiful king crown and hair mold. This will be good for this set. Before, it was hard to get your hands on one of these, so this will help a lot of people with their medieval kingdoms. Now, the one Snake Knight. His colors are dark gray, black, with a hue of purple, and hopefully bright orange. I'm unsure from the pictures if it's confirmed bright orange like the Tournament Knights, or if it's yellow like the Naked Knights. The last thing we need is more of those guys running around. The torso and legs on this figure, though, they're very nice. It's not every day we get medieval torsos that don't have an emblem on them. I think this is a great change, and I can honestly probably see myself using these with some of the tax collector figures that I have, maybe add them to a faction together. The Snake Knight also does come with a standard black cape, a helmet, and a hairpiece to switch out for playability. I do wish this is something we would see more in sets in the future where you can have those helmets and hairpieces switch out depending on what scene you're going for. This is a very nice touch, and LEGO did a great job on that. Lastly, he has that beautiful shield mold that we saw from the Zelda sets. This thing is great, and the Snake Knight symbol is very historic and just beautiful. Which faction are you more excited for, though? The Snake Knights or Horse Knights? Let me know down in the comments. The biggest downside for the figures in general, though, are the horses. The horses are brick built. I'm not sure how I feel about these. I actually love the LEGO horses, and any chance to get a horse always excites me, but seeing a replacement for a horse and a horse barding piece makes me cringe. Hopefully these horses can move a little better since they're brick built, but I'm a little skeptical. For the first of the alternate builds, let's look at the Windmill. The scene here is an entrance to the outer wall of a kingdom. It focuses on the interior rather than the exterior here, and we can see the figures nicely here. We can also see there's a good looking peasant house and a bakery. It looks like with those new pictures, we can see that this build actually opens and closes, which is a really nice feature. I wonder if you can actually access this balcony for the house to put a figure here. The exterior is nothing too special, but it also doesn't look terrible. You can clearly see it's a corner of an outer wall and even has a hidden exit door as a play feature. My favorite part of this build is probably the upside down pot for the bell on top of the gate. This is just very funny to me. The peasant house, though, is nicely done. It's a crudely done Tudor house, which would be pretty typically done for a peasant. So that checks that box for realism for me. The Windmill being above a bakery, though, is also very nice. It really just makes sense that the place where you would mill, you would also bake the bread. The downside to it, though, is that I don't see any bread, so it lacks the detail for that bakery portion. But we all know we can fix that later if we get this set. It isn't clear if this Windmill has any of those play features that we've seen in the past, so that'll have to wait until release day. This little cart that the peasant is holding is actually very charming to me. Him not having a horse makes sense, as having a horse would be more expensive, especially in a community where horses are used for their knights. So seeing this feels very common, and it humbles the scene a little bit. For me, though, I probably wouldn't build this alternate build because I feel like the figures don't match this scene. We have mostly knights, a king, an enemy knight, and then one peasant. For me, I would have liked to seen a lot more peasants to go with this build. Lastly, we have the Joust scene. Now, before I talk about this, there is no replacement to our Joust scene from the Kingdoms era. This set, though, plays homage to the original Joust scene from way back when they had brick-built horses, and for this, I give it props. The towers here are built to scale, which I appreciate. A figure could potentially get in these, but the back of it, we're unable to see if that's true. But these towers use some nice details, and they're tall, which is always a plus. Between them, we have an area where the king and queen can watch the joust, with a sword and some shields for a decoration, which I like. This middle section, although small, packs a nice little punch of detail in it. To the right, we got a section where the knights in the tournament would have their weapons that a squire would fetch for them. And on the left, we got what looks like a little tent. For the joust portion itself, we have a very simple railing with the two knights on either side on those brick-built horses for the joust. There's nothing too crazy here going on, but it helps round out the scene. I'm still skeptical of these horses, but this scene does make it look like they can move their feet more. Is that worth it not being the regular LEGO horses? I'm still struggling myself, but let me know how you feel in the comments. Now for the price analysis on this set. As we know, the price of Legos have been steadily going up. That being said, we haven't seen a castle set lower than $200 since the last 3-in-1 Creator Series. This one's a bit more, but it has double the figures, Better figures in my opinion, and way better accessories for them. As far as piece count though, the last Creator 3-in-1 set had 1426 pieces versus this one being 1371. So although it got a huge buff for the figures, it does have 55 less parts than the last Creator castle. Many would say though that this build does not compare to that last 3-in-1, and especially because of the $30 price hike since then. Now, is this because LEGO has been steadily eliminating their competition, or because of inflation over the last 4 years? Is that enough to justify this set being $129.99 USD? The only person that can answer that is you. Considering this set is more for entry-level castle fans or a younger crowd and isn't too expensive though, I think it's a great option. It has nice little Easter eggs and details for castle fans such as myself, and I think it's worth a try. Now, I'm not sure if I'll keep the build how it comes, but it might be great for pieces for a new home for another one of my factions. But I really hope to get this set myself. I really want those minifigures, and I want to test out the 3 builds and make videos for you guys. So if you're looking forward to reviews on those 3 builds, stick around. And thank you all once again so much for hanging out until the end. If you like medieval LEGO content, please subscribe and hit that like button for me. We have been doing a great job reaching all our subscriber goals, and I appreciate all the feedback and comments that each and every one of you give.